Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the evolution of the brain and the human brain. The evolution of the brain in animals is a fascinating subject that spans millions of years of evolution. Starting from the simplest forms of life, the brain has evolved over time to become increasingly complex and sophisticated. Let's take a look at the evolution of the brain from porifera to chordata. Porifera, also known as sponges, are the simplest and most ancient multicellular organisms. They do not have a true brain or nervous system. Instead, they have a simple network of cells that can detect stimuli and respond to changes in the environment. Moving up the evolutionary ladder, the next group of animals with a more developed nervous system are the cyanidarians. Cyanidarians, such as jellyfish and sea anemones, have a diffuse nervous system, which is a network of nerves that spreads throughout the body. This allows them to detect stimuli and respond to changes in the environment, but they do not have a true brain. As we move up the evolutionary ladder, the next group of animals with a more complex nervous system are the flatworms. Flatworms have a simple brain, known as a ganglion, that is located at the front of the body. This brain controls the movement of the worm and helps it to react to stimuli in the environment. Finally, we arrive at the chordates, which include fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Chordates have a more complex and sophisticated nervous system, with a central nervous system that consists of the brain and spinal cord. The brain of chordates is much more developed and has specialized areas that control different functions, such as movement, sensation, memory, and emotion. Now let's talk about human brain. The human brain is the most complex organ in the body, responsible for controlling all of our thoughts, movements, and emotions. It is the central processing unit of the nervous system and is made up of more than 100 billion nerve cells, or neurons, and trillions of support cells, known as glia. The human brain is protected by a series of structures that help to keep it safe from injury. These structures include skull. The skull is the bony structure that encases and protects the brain. The skull is composed of several bones that fit together to form a solid, protective casing around the brain. Meninges. The meninges are a series of three membranes that cover and protect the brain. The outermost layer is called the dura mater, the middle layer is the arachnoid mater, and the innermost layer is the pia mater. These membranes protect the brain by cushioning it and preventing it from coming into contact with the skull. Cerebrospinal fluid. The brain is surrounded by a clear, colorless fluid called cerebrospinal fluid, CSF. This fluid acts as a cushion, protecting the brain from injury by absorbing shock and reducing pressure. Blood-brain barrier. The blood-brain barrier is a specialized layer of cells that surrounds the blood vessels in the brain. It acts as a barrier, preventing harmful substances in the blood from entering the brain and damaging it. In addition to these physical protections, the brain also has a number of mechanisms that help to prevent injury. For example, the brainstem has a reflex that helps to limit the range of motion of the head, reducing the risk of injury during sudden movements. The human brain is comprised of several distinct parts, each with its own unique structure and function. Some of the key parts of the brain and their functions are described below. Cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the brain and is responsible for higher-level functions such as thinking, reasoning, and decision-making. It is divided into four main lobes: the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobe. Each lobe has specific functions, such as processing visual information in the occipital lobe and controlling movement in the frontal lobe. Frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the largest lobe of the brain and is responsible for a number of important functions. It is involved in executive functions, such as problem-solving, decision-making, and planning, as well as controlling movement and speech. The frontal lobe also plays a role in our emotions and personalities. Parietal lobe. The parietal lobe is located in the top and middle part of the brain and is responsible for processing sensory information from the body. It is involved in functions such as touch sensation, temperature perception, and processing information from the sense of taste. Temporal lobe. The temporal lobe is located on the sides of the brain and is responsible for processing auditory information, as well as processing information from the sense of smell. The temporal lobe also plays a role in memory formation and recognition. Occipital lobe. The occipital lobe is located at the back of the brain and is responsible for processing visual information. It is responsible for interpreting the information received by the eyes and creating our perception of the world around us. Brainstem. The brainstem is the lower part of the brain and is responsible for basic functions such as breathing, heart rate, and arousal. The brainstem also serves as a bridge between the brain and the spinal cord. Cerebellum. The cerebellum is located at the base of the brain and is responsible for coordinating movement and balance. It works in conjunction with the cerebral cortex and the brainstem to produce smooth, coordinated movements. Hippocampus. The hippocampus is a region of the brain located within the temporal lobe that plays a key role in memory formation and recall. It is also involved in spatial navigation and the regulation of emotions. Some of these exceptional features include plasticity. The brain is capable of adapting and changing in response to new experiences, a process known as plasticity. This allows the brain to form new connections and rewire itself in response to changes in the environment. Complexity. The human brain is capable of processing vast amounts of information and performing complex functions such as reasoning, problem solving, and decision making. It is also capable of learning, storing, and retrieving vast amounts of information. Emotional regulation. The brain plays a key role in regulating our emotions, allowing us to experience a wide range of feelings and respond appropriately to different situations. It also helps to regulate our stress response, allowing us to cope with challenging situations. Consciousness. The human brain is capable of experiencing consciousness, which is a state of awareness and perception of the world around us. Consciousness allows us to experience the world in a subjective way, and it is a key part of what makes us human. Language. The human brain is capable of producing and understanding language, which is a complex and sophisticated system of communication. Language allows us to express our thoughts and ideas, as well as understand and interpret the thoughts and ideas of others. Creativity. The human brain is capable of producing creative ideas and solutions, allowing us to think outside the box and find new and innovative ways to approach problems. Self-awareness. The human brain is capable of self-awareness, which is the ability to reflect on one's own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Self-awareness is a critical aspect of human consciousness, and it allows us to understand and regulate our own emotions and behaviors. In conclusion, the human brain is an exceptional organ, capable of performing a wide range of complex and sophisticated functions. From plasticity and complexity to emotional regulation and self-awareness, the human brain is a remarkable part of what makes us human. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the amazing world of the human brain. We hope you have learned something new and gained a deeper appreciation for the complexity and sophistication of this remarkable organ.